What's the juiciest rumor at your school that turned out to be 100% true? New kid comes to high school. Has a funny accent because his parents were missionaries traveling all over the world. He was actually kind of cool, spoke at least 4 different languages: English, Spanish, Russian, and Mandarin. He was super polite and everyone liked him. Of course, he had haters, mainly the so-called bullies, a concept he never understood. Rumor began that he was well-versed in many forms of martial arts. He never denied or admitted them. One of the bullies decided to find out. He was much bigger than the new kid. New kid did everything in his power to not escalate the fight. Even took a punch from said bully. Well, guess the rumor was true. Not only did the new kid beat his butt, the bully crapped himself. Most awesome thing I ever saw in high school. Edit. Unfortunately, I was never really close to him, but I had heard from another friend of mine that he ended up moving after high school. No one seems to know anything else. I barely remember his first name. It was not an easy one, let alone his last name. So he will live on in memory as that one foreign kid that nobody messed with. Not only did the kid beat his butt, the bully crapped himself. Thank you. This has made it onto my list of favorite things to look at when I'm old. Resource officer was a child molester and then murdered his wife after he was fired. He fled and they still haven't found him over 10 years later. He's on Marshall's top 15 most wanted list. His name was Dan Hires and his mother thinks he's dead. The computer tech teacher got caught doing it with a student. He was put on suspension while the investigation was concluded. He killed himself by running his car into a tree. The science teacher was a pedophile. Some kid found Viagra in his desk and he was put in admin leave when they found a used condom in his trash after the search. Then kids came forward. Was not pretty. 2 teachers that were married to each other were sleeping with students. The husband was the first to do it and the wife found out and slept with some of her students as revenge. Also, the resource officer was sleeping with some of the 18-year-old seniors. All got confirmed when they were fired for it. Well, the teachers got fired. The officer got moved to bicycle patrol. I think he's ridden enough. This one girl would make those colorful friendship bracelets out of needlepoint floss for every guy she gave a BJ to. There were lots of bracelets. Edit. I sure effing hope Emily doesn't have Reddit. Edit 2. Just because Emily gave mad BJs doesn't mean I will. Get your bracelets elsewhere. Like some kind of club or something. Right? It was pretty funny. The guys didn't start figuring it out until there was quite a large number of handmade bracelets on dudes who wouldn't normally be wearing anything of the sort. Who made you that, Emily? The art teacher was sleeping with both the history teacher and RE teacher. She was married to the chemistry teacher who she'd previously had an affair with while married to the woodwork teacher. I believe she married the RE teacher sometime after I left school. Edit. A few people have asked what RE is, religious education, which state schools in the UK used to have to teach, taught by an atheist, which was refreshing. This is better than a Mexican soap opera. Esta noche a la escuela dramática. Rumor had it that a teacher was doing it with some of his students that wanted higher grades. No one believed it to be true because he was married and just had his 3rd baby. 100% true, and all the students were proud of it. He's still in jail 5 years later. Students were proud of it? I have to teach her for my B+? Wait up, I'm an A-level F here, bro. An abortion using a coat hanger where a student bled to death. It happened years before I attended the school and was the basis of the ghost sightings near the bathroom. Man, this is disturbing as hell. That there's an underground bunker from the Cold War era below the school. Not only is it there, but it turns out you can access it from the PE changing room through a secret trapdoor. Edit. It's in Krakow, Poland because so many of you were curious, and it looks like there's actually lots of schools that have one. Edit 2. Also, it is confirmed to be a bunker, but it was built before the school existed and was most likely emptied by previous owners of the building. Oh, finally, one that's interesting and not about doing it, cheating, releasing in the ranch bottle, or doing other horrible, nasty crap. Did you get to go in? Any cans of peaches and whatnot? Not OP, but there was an enormous bunker under my old middle school. I got to go down there with a friend who was on yearbook. The school was closing, moved to a new building, and she was going to take pictures. It was creepy. Lots of tunnels leading to mini bunkers, all stuffed with industrial-looking cans of rations. And yes, peaches. There was a whole room full of toilet paper. I took a roll as a souvenir. Also grabbed a massive container of petroleum jelly for some reason. Guess I thought it was funny. Middle schoolers are dumb. Some kid in my year/grade found nude pictures of his art teacher, female, on a school camera when he went to take pictures of his painting. Didn't have a clue what to do about it, so just started telling people and no one believed him. A couple days later, he pulled out of class and had to see the school headmaster about it. They found the camera and the photos, and somehow the teacher was unaware whatsoever. Thing is, the teacher didn't get any reprimands, but the kid got excluded a couple of days for spreading true rumors about the teacher. Doesn't seem fair. Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous. Hearing his parents got involved with it, and then a couple weeks later, it was as if it never happened. Safe to say he pulled out of the art class and changed course. In middle school, a rumor floated around pretty much most of the school that the principal had a consistent record of sexual assault, and what do you effing know, he got arrested for sexual assault when I was a freshman in high school. It was all over the news and everything. A younger male teacher, upper 20s, newlywed, was doing it in his classroom during lunch with an older female teacher, married in her mid-40s. A student caught them and filmed them, pretty much blackmailed them into turning themselves in. At least he was effing a teacher and not a student. Well, that's a twist I could get behind. A student used blackmail to get the offenders to do the right thing for once. We had a Spanish teacher who would keep giving random financial business advice during classes. One day he tabbed over to a stock trading homepage and accidentally revealed that he was a millionaire. Rumors about his past started circulating. Around graduation, some students found old newspaper articles confirming that he was a former meth dealer who had spent time in jail. Was a seriously cool guy, actually. That would be a good Breaking Bad spin-off. Actually, that's one sharp drug dealer. Made the money, served some time, invested the money that wasn't taken by the government, and is teaching. Two sports teachers were having an affair with each other, even though one of their spouses was also a sports teacher in the same school using the same dinky office. Rumor was confirmed when the two dudes had a fist fight in the basketball court. I feel like every PE teacher I ever had was plowing another member of staff. Edit. I should mention I was homeschooled. That the school district security guard would let you get away with anything if you gave him some coke. He later got caught and fired for it. If anyone else went there, it was a Desert View High School in Tucson. Edit. I was talking about cocaine, not the soda for those who didn't realize that. And on a serious note, it's all about the Dr. P and F the rest. Was Pepsi okay? The principal made a porn tape with a student when he was still just a teacher and had it hidden on school property. It all came out when the vice principal tried to use it as leverage to steal his job. The principal was forced to resign, the student in the video was 18, but the vice and the rest of the administration were fired for covering it up. But was the tape actually on school property? I get the vibe he'd be stupid enough to keep it in his desk. Stored in the VHS player. Nobody would search there. Spanish teacher was a former male porn star. La puta está en la biblioteca. Puta. ¿Dónde está mis pantalones? Editar. Están. The wood tech teacher was married to the French teacher. They had a child. The PE teacher effed the French teacher. The wood tech teacher went into the PE department and threatened to beat the crap out of the PE teacher with a cricket bat. I believe this was during a normal school day, but it was before my year started there. A second PE teacher got involved and stopped it so everyone kept their jobs. Later on, the wood tech teacher married the geography teacher and they had 2 kids, whilst a third PE teacher cheated on her husband with a second PE teacher, and every Wednesday an hour before lunch I would see PE teachers 2 and 3 through the window of my science classroom. They would get in a car and leave together. Sometimes I would see them come back and sometimes I wouldn't. I jokingly pointed it out to people before anyone else caught on, and later they became a couple that was known to students. TLDR, 6 teachers, 3 pregnancies, 2 affairs, 1 angry husband with a cricket bat. And a partridge in a pear tree. Teacher from my high school. Girls were creeped out by him and constantly reported him for making them uncomfortable. He was quite obese, belly hung to the knees, so the school and other students wrongly assumed these girls were being rude. 6 years later, he's in prison after being caught with CP on his computer, alongside upskirt photos of girls from my school. Are you from Victoria, Australia by any chance? Because I have the exact same story as you. Haha. That there was a girl in the boys' bathroom giving BJs for $10. There really was, and she got expelled. $10? Way too cheap considering the risk. She could do 10 a day every day, knowing how long teenage boys last, and probably does during lessons time, which is 100 per day, 500 per week, more if she does it out of school too, which is $24K per year, tax-free, good money there. And it's clear she got ratted out, probably by some lad's D she didn't suck. The rumor was that a boys' gym teacher and a senior girl in my class were involved. They got married when we graduated. He was at least 10 years older than she was. Still together? For over 40 years now. My 6th grade maths teacher was super creepy. He would assign seats randomly, but always placed the girls in the front of the classroom. Did the whole lingering stare thing and was always trying to get people to hang out with him during lunch. I never did, but he was married and had a baby, so no one really suspected him of anything other than being creepy. Fast forward about 7 years, the teacher ended up being an S offender. He had an ongoing relationship with a girl that began when she was 13. Based on what I could see from the various news articles, she was either in my year or the year before me. The police came to arrest him in the middle of his class, cuffed him in front of his students, and then had him walk through campus in cuffs to get to their car. I don't feel bad for him at all, but I can't imagine how his wife and son must feel. Edit. For everyone asking, this was in the Bay Area, California. The same exact thing happened at my school, except he was an art teacher. What is wrong with the world? Well, the thing is, people with an unhealthy attraction to children or teens will look for jobs involving them. Probably not the juiciest thing, but the one I remember because of how I found out. A few of our high school library's walls were weird. Sort of a lowercase b shape. So there was this empty space behind the bookshelves up against the walls. Tunnels, basically. Word was students were effing in there. I worked in the library, had to move the shelves, clean the tunnels, found used condoms. It was an all-boys school at the time, if that matters. Mind, the condoms weren't the worst thing, really. The leftover food debris in there was worse, stuff like chicken bones. Edit. Couple years later, I was talking with an ex-schoolmate. Another guy from our graduating class comes in. I hate that guy, my friend says. He's effing gay. Dude, you're gay. There's gay, and they're so effing gay that other people think you're too effing gay. Turns out that gent had been one of the entrepreneurial fellows selling services for a few dollars ago. I wasn't shocked since I already had some idea. But I was surprised that the going rate had been so cheap. You know you've hit rock bottom when you'll give a blowy for a piece of fried chicken. Either that or that's some awfully damned good chicken. He wasn't doing it for the money. Also, some kid said he was going to kill himself a bunch of times over getting worse grades than his little brother, and finally one day, he jumped in front of a train on the tracks right behind the school. I heard some details of what kids saw, and it was about as horrifying as you'd think. Damn, how would his brother feel? That poor effing train driver, though. Edit. I could have worded this better than my 3 a.m. sleepless haze, like the train driver is just trying to do his job and that happens out of his control. The effect that can have on a person's mental health can be devastating. The cheerleading team was doing coke off the toilet seats. Edit. For everyone saying the tank would be better, maybe my high school was unusual, but we had the same high-power flush toilets like other public bathrooms. They had no tanks, just the base of the toilet and the seat. Our bathrooms had no doors to the entrance, probably as a deterrent to this behavior, so the counters were a no-go. The toilet paper dispensers were those large circular ones. Believe me, I agree with those of you saying it's gross and idiotic, but there weren't that many alternatives in the bathroom. We weren't allowed to have bags or backpacks with us, so no one carried a purse, and they did it in the middle of class, so bringing a textbook would be suspect. Also, the main offenders were too young to drive, so they didn't have keys necessarily. And this was pre-smartphone and before the average high school student even had a cell phone. Edit 2. Real glad the cheerleaders' collective idiocy led to my highest rated comment. That's disgusting. Why not use the sink or the toilet paper dispenser? Surely there had to be a better surface to use than a poop-smeared public toilet seat. So it's not as visible from the sink, and the toilet paper dispenser usually has an angle. A chemistry teacher was running a meth lab in his classroom. I crap you not, happened right before Breaking Bad first aired. Happened my freshman year. There was a rumor that our female English teacher was sleeping with the starting QB, and that her youngest child was not her husband's, but the QB's. She was caught sleeping with a different one of her students years later, and it is now known she has slept with a number of former students, including the QB. Now people really think her youngest kid isn't her husband's. Edit. QB equals quarterback. Sorry to my non-Americans on the thread. This is by far the most attention that a post of mine has received, and I love that it turned into a Blue Mountain State thread. Go Goats! Alex Morin? Alex would never start. It's clearly Raiden. When I was in middle school, the big joke rumor was that 2 teachers were banging. Years later, everyone finds out that not only were they having an affair outside of their respective marriages, but that the male teacher was cheating on both women with a man. The female teacher moved away and ended her own life. The entire situation was unbelievably messy. The male principal got caught effing the male history teacher in his office. Both were married. Edit. Principal. Sorry. Their husbands must have been furious. Some kids made semen-frosted brownies and gave them to another kid, and he ate them. Wow, you made these? Yes, I was up all night. For 10 minutes. There was a girl who wanted to lose her virginity, so she offered a guy a phone top-up to take her virginity, and he did it. So, hold on. This chick was like, yo, F me and I'll pay your phone bill for the month? Damn, where's this kind of girl when I was in school? The physics teacher was sexting and sleeping with one of his students. Not sure if she was 18 or not at the time. Although honestly, no one was surprised. He was a little too friendly toward the girls and changed his pants in the back of the classroom once. He ended up leaving for personal reasons over Thanksgiving break, but of course it got out. Sadly, his wife was in her 3rd trimester, which probably didn't make it any easier for her to find out her husband was sleeping with a high school student. Within the first 2 weeks of the school starting and everyone meeting each other, one of the girls had a threesome with 2 guys who didn't really get along. So she convinced them to make love, not war. I guess you can say she bridged the gap in their friendship. We had a study hall teacher who was a huge hard ass with a handlebar mustache who was retired Navy. Turned out he was a hardcore gay BDSM porn star in the early 2000s. He got fired even though it was long before his time teaching. I ended up writing a letter to the administration, county, and their attorneys, but he stayed fired. I guess it would be hard to command respect from students when Googling his porn name immediately brought up a pic of his balls bound in leather. Our math teacher in high school had a student teacher she was helping train to take over for her when she went on maternity leave. The student teacher was maybe 20-21 and a fairly attractive young woman. So naturally, all the guys in the class had a crush on her. One guy in particular was a super senior and 18 to 19. He flirted with her nonstop and she would act super embarrassed and blush in a non-committal way, tell him to knock it off. I'm sure you see where this is going. Well, towards the end of the semester, he was bragging about going on a date with her and how they went to the movies. Then he went back to her place and they did it. We all thought he was full of crap. But the rumor got around the school and of course the teachers and faculty found out. Then one day, she was just gone, and we had substitute teachers for the rest of the semester. We all knew what happened. Looking back, it's kind of a shame that she probably wrecked her future teaching career of him. Yeah, teachers shouldn't start that young with people they were allowed to bang a few weeks ago. A girl got caught giving her boyfriend a blowjob in one of the stairwells of my high school. The government teacher, one of the most ultra-religious and pure-hearted individuals on earth, was the one who caught them. Ended up in a science class with a girl. She gave no Fs that she got caught and took her legend status like a champ. Still makes me laugh over a decade later. Very attractive married with kids PE teacher was effing very attractive married with kids English teacher. We all thought they were just very flirty people, but LOL, nope. Full-on affair going on. That a girl hid her pregnancy, then killed the baby. The music teacher in my high school was rumored to have been fired for sending D-pics to a female student. There had been subs taking his place for nearly a month. The principal said he was too ill to come into work, and eventually another rumor that he had cancer started spreading around. He had been bald longer than anyone could remember. If you asked any of the student staff what was going on, they would just say, "He's just sick right now. We don't know when he'll be returning." One day in my physics class, everyone in the class pestered the teacher for the whole period until he finally gave in. Some people were trying to argue the cancer story. One student asked the physics teacher, "Did he send nudes to that girl?" And he finally said, "That thing that you think happened, it happened." The student said, "So he did," and the teacher simply nodded his head yes. A month or so later, the music teacher showed up in school. Everyone was running up to him in the hallway asking what happened. He dodged every question, and the last thing I heard him say was, "I'm just here to get some things." We had a running joke around my school for years. If someone asked, "Could you insert question here?" most people would reply, "I'll do it for a bag of Doritos." This was a school-wide inside joke because a girl was caught sucking this guy's D in the bathroom. Some authority figure had the bright idea of asking why the horny teen would allow this. He said, "She said she would do it for $3 and a bag of Doritos." No one ever saw the girl again, but the guy became a legend. Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.